Guys, it's Justin again with another Gundam review. Well, not really a Gundam review, but a Gundam head review. This is the 1-24 BTF Strike head. And I'm just going to say straight away that this thing is phenomenal. I think as far as the heads that I've built are concerned, in terms of just general look, I think this has got the best sculpt by a pretty good margin. The details are all there as far as being, frame detail anyway, I guess. The build was relatively straightforward. There were just enough big pieces, just enough small pieces, and there weren't any fitting issues whatsoever. With the exception of the metallic pieces, a handful of those didn't fit properly. But that's just because of, I guess, the way they did the metallics. But it was no problem whatsoever. Just to kind of trim the pegs a little bit with my cutters and put those pieces in. No peg widening or anything like that. The gripes with this kit are very minimal, and we'll get to those in a little bit. So, the head itself is, like I said in the unboxing, very similar to the resin kit. I believe that's a Neo grade resin kit. I'm not sure if it's the exact same, but it is very similar. The only major difference is with the G system, when you're going to get a little thing down here and like a hatch where you're going to be able to see the pilot, and that lights all up and all that, but I didn't really care for all that, so this is what I got. And the other one doesn't have like a bunch of opening panels and stuff like that like this one does. So big advantage to plastic users, but the resin one's bigger, a little bit sharper, things like that. But anyway, like I said, this is 1-24 scale. Not the biggest head that I've built, I don't think, not by much. I think the biggest was the Banshee. I think that was 1-20. I could be wrong, but either way, quite enjoyable. Like I said, no part fitting issues whatsoever. Everything went together really smoothly. Undergates where they needed to be. There was only a few weird parts that weren't undergated. The chrome pieces were mostly undergated. And the chrome actually looks really nice. The instructions were incredibly easy to follow, and please follow the instructions if you decide to pick this thing up. I'll get into it later, but follow the instructions. So, it looks very much like the Strike should. If anybody knows what the Strike Gundam looks like, this is basically it. There's not a lot in the way of articulation. You can turn the head side to side, you can move it up and down, but one of the little problems with that is this little back piece here will bump into this, so it's kind of made to look down a little bit, and that pretty much be it. But you can turn it, so that's cool. These pieces move, but there's no real reason to move them. I just think that they have those to, I don't know, for a visual effect or something like that. These move as well. Well, they can move, and this little thing up here can move. I think I've done it. Yeah, there we go. You can move that up and down. There's no real reason to or no purpose behind it, but you can do it. There's a ton of opening hatches on the face. Nothing really down here on the body, so to speak. All the detail is just molded there, and on the other side it's the same. No opening panels or anything like that on that, which is fine. The big reason people are here is for the head anyway, so the chest is just kind of an add-on. Now, I don't remember what all opens here. I know that we can open these side panels, and those are pretty cool, very easy. These seem to have gotten progressively better since the new head. The new head was really cool, but the way they clipped in wasn't very great, so it created some issues. But there's that. There's internal detail on all of the back sides of all the hatches. So even if you don't pick up the first run, you can still go ahead and paint all that stuff, and it'll look really nice. And then there's all this mechanical detail under here, which looks really good. And one of my first gripes, it's very minor. The inside of the face plates is like a hollow, and it looks kind of weird. You can only see it from certain angles, but when you can see it, it looks kind of bad. But it's not too bad. I just wish that it was a little more filled out, or there was like an insert. But it looks fine. Next, we have the Mohawk camera that pops up about that far. And I had an issue getting this to stay down, but now, once everything's all assembled, it stays down a lot better. Every once in a while it'll pop up a tiny bit, but you just push it down a couple times and it'll stay. But it goes up about that far. You can't really see all the stuff. There's like 2 or 3 different layers of silver parts that kind of go in there and add to that, but you only really need the front ones because you don't really see the back ones. The faceplate slides out and can, I think if you pull it out enough, you can slide it down a little bit. I don't want to pull it off. But you can see all the face, or all the vents and stuff in there. That looks really good. And I think this comes forward. Maybe not. But I will say that you can pop this off, and there's detail underneath of that as well. So you can display that on or off. That's entirely your option. Because there's, again, detail under there, so it's, you know, you can pop this down just like this, or no, wait, I'm sorry, this slides out as well, and then you can pivot it down. And again, there's detail on the back side of both of those pieces, and there's stuff underneath as well. This moves a little bit, not very much. It's just kind of a thing. But I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. So, there it is, all opened up. It looks really cool. I'm a huge fan of the Strike. I'm a huge fan of all the detail on the Strike, the PG especially. And this, I think, does a very good job of kind of hitting that on the head. It does a really nice job of portraying the Strike. And then all those pipes and vents and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and turn these lights off. Before I do, right here, the switch is right here. So it's this little crest that's hidden a little bit better than some of the other ones. But when you turn the lights off, you can see the lights look really good. Again, this is kind of built to be displayed a certain way, and it sort of looks down, so it's hard to get a decent look at the eyes, but it looks really nice. You know, full LEDs on all the cameras. You get the blue LED for the front camera, which is awesome. Let me slide that down. Close this up. And you can see it in like a full closed mode. If I can, there we go. And it looks really great. I'm really pleased with this thing. This has been a great purchase. I think it's really nicely done. You know, the metal piping is the spring pieces you get with the kit. So yeah, now on to my issues with the kit. The only real issues I had were when I was assembling the head. You have to assemble, I believe it's the left side of the head first. You assemble this side, and then they'll tell you to assemble the right side, and then you use the right side and like assemble the rest of the head around that. I had the left side done and started feeding all the wires through and putting all the extra pieces on, and then I went to go put the left side in, and I like messed some of the wires up and all that stuff because there's not a lot of room in the head. So follow the instructions, because the other side of the head actually has better routing for the wires, so it looks a lot nicer when you get it all in there and everything. I mean, it doesn't look monumentally better, but it does look better. So I recommend following the directions exactly as they put them. It just makes your life a little bit easier. The next gripe is the LED unit itself. The upper cameras are a little bit tangled up in the head, so it takes a little bit of finagling to get it properly in there. There's a little bit too much wire, and that creates some problems with getting everything to fit in the neck, and it also causes the head to kind of pop up a little bit once you get everything assembled. But once you get everything in firmly and where it should be, it stays. And my final issue is the biggest issue with this kit, the absolute biggest issue. And if you have any wiring know-how, actually you don't even need wiring know-how, if you know how to cut a wire and make it longer, it's not really much of an issue. And that is the battery box. The battery box is inside this chest piece. And I don't mean it's like inside at the bottom or it's inside at the front. There's a piece that goes above this one, and that holds the battery. And then there's these two large pieces that go around that, and then these pieces and this back piece and this front piece. So essentially, if you want to change the batteries in this thing, you have to completely, I mean completely, disassemble this kit. And the only thing that you're going to not disassemble is the head. So really, you know, these knockoff companies or Chinese companies or third-party companies, whatever you want to call them, really need to step their LED game up, because oddly enough, the only head kit that I built that had a decent LED light-up system, besides the new Gundam, which was really good all the way around, was the Banshee, which that kit was awful, and the LEDs were just in the bottom of the base. So what I plan on doing is, when I take this thing apart, is I'm going to go ahead and run wire from the chest down here. I'm going to extend the base, hopefully, and just put the battery box on the bottom of this, so that I can just pick it up and swap the batteries if I need to. It runs off 2 AAA batteries, and that's pretty much it. It's all plug and play. It's all pre-wired for you. You just have to connect the red wire to the red wire and the blue, or the black wire to the black wire, and it's good to go. Definitely not rocket science. I was talking to Jim about it this morning. If I had to give this kit a rating, I would give it somewhere between an 80 and an 85. It's a really nice kit. There's lots of nice surface detail. There's lots of internal detail. The lights work really well. They look really nice. You get a couple of options for camera pieces. You know, it's a really nicely detailed kit. It fits together without much hassle, and it just looks nice even straight out of the box. You don't have to do any lining or anything like that. Comes with water slides. I know some people aren't really a fan of that, but whatever. You know, and it looks nice on your shelf. So, I know the last thing that people are going to be asking me is, Justin, how big does this thing compare to other head busts? Well, here's the GPO-4 head. And it's roughly the same size. It's a little taller because of the base, but I'd say that the head itself is about the same size. You know, it's not any larger. I believe they're actually the same scale, made by completely different companies, but I think they are the same scale. And they look really nice next to each other too. So I'm looking forward to painting both of these and getting them, you know, put together and looking nice, and hopefully that becomes a reality sooner than later. But these are the two heads. This is the BTF Strike again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. For anybody who's wondering, I picked this up over at Samuel Decal on Facebook. If you just shoot him a message over there or shoot him an email, you can order that as well as decals and stuff like that. But great kit. I very highly recommend it. I would I can't wait to dig into it. If I didn't have so many other projects I'm working on right now that needed to be worked on, I would 100% jump right into this. But it is a great kit, so go pick one up. And I will see you guys with the next review. Thanks for watching. Later.